Hey you guys, hope you all are well, hope you all are staying warm. Greetings from the Speedway Cup. Of course, I always have this handy, or some type of drink handy, because I tend to talk a lot, so um, if you're new here, you'll figure that out. If you've been here a minute, you know that already. Today, we are going to cover some more movies for you. I watched Men in Black International and uh, 54, and we're going to take a look at those for you today. We're going to start with 54. This is, of course, the story of the famed New York nightclub that was pretty famous in the 70s. Studio 54 tells how it got started, and the guy that started it not with the intent of it being a big, celebrity deal or whatever, but just to be able to have a place to party with his friends whenever he wanted to. And I'll be damned if that's not what it turned into. This guy was so anal about who he let into his club, he would literally stand at the door with bouncers and say, okay, you can come in, no, go away, whatever. You can come in, you can come in. So he was really, really particular about who could come into his club. Um, and, I found that kind of interesting because in this day and age, we call that country clubs. Um, so essentially, um, this was the first country club. Um, and, once you got into the club, once you said, okay, cool, you can come in, it was like a whole another world that he had created. Anything went. A lot of drugs, a lot of sex, a lot of rock and roll, a lot of singing, a lot of dancing, just one big party. Um, Eventually, um, he got, and a lot of people actually died there from uh, drug ODs and things like that. And eventually, um, he got caught by um, the police and the FBI for um, running drugs out of there and trafficking and all that. And he did some time in jail. And when he went to jail, some other people bought the club and actually regulated it, um, to pretty much what you would see today. So basically, it was no anything goes anymore. And the club actually was open for a couple of more years um, before it actually closed down. And when he got out of jail, just kind of as a, okay, whatever, you can come, you can have one last party or club, whatever. And he invited all of his friends, and he ran it his way one last time. And after that, he never had anything to do with it. And like I said, a few years later, the club actually closed down, and it was definitely an interesting time. I wish I would have been old enough to, if not have experienced it, just kind of lived through the hype and hoopla of it. But I was born in '79, and it was dead by like '86, I think. somewhere between 84 and 86. They didn't say. They just said it stayed open for several more years. Um, but I think it was like somewhere between 84 and 86. So I couldn't have understood it anyway. But it would have been cool to like have recollections of it. Um, I thought it was a pretty interesting movie. Because I like true stories like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it 3 out of 5. And if you like true stories and movies that are based on true stories, um, it's definitely worth checking out. So, and I saw it on Cinemax On Demand. So if you get Cinemax On Demand, it's there. I didn't check to see when it gets pulled, but it's there if you want to watch it. And I also saw on an on-demand channel, I'm not sure which one, I think it was Cinemax 2, because I was doing all my movie watches for movies I have written down by network. So, and I found this one. That would be Men in Black International. Now, I've heard that it wasn't great, and going into it, I had heard that it wasn't great, and so I didn't have very high expectations for it. Um, but I liked it. I thought it was really well done for what it was. There really wasn't anything you could tie to the other original 3 films with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. So what are you gonna do? But I thought they did a pretty good job with it. You know, Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth, um, did a pretty good job as the Tommy Lee Jones type character. Um, but I think there was a little bit of Will Smith mixed in here too. That character, because um, I saw flashes of both. Um, and basically, this female agent has a um, um, encounter with seeing Men in Black agents outside of her apartment when she's a kid, and her parents get neutralized with that neutralizer thing they stick in your eyes and push a button, and you don't remember shit. Well, she was in her room, so she saw all that and wasn't neutralized, and so when she got older and wanted to do something, she found an application and it said check the box you want to be in. There was no box. She made her own box and she checked it, and she's like, I want to do this. So eventually they had to um, say okay, kind of let her in, and she kind of snuck her way in to um, the MIB headquarters, and that's kind of her in, and they sent her to the international branch of Men in Black and teamed her with Chris Hemsworth's character, and she's like this, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed rookie because she's seen all the shit, and she remembered all the shit from when she was a little kid, and eventually, she kind of forms into a, pretty good agent, and not to give the ending of the movie away, but it all turns out that, everybody ends up how they're supposed to be, and, they save the world from alien domination, or they save Europe from alien, domination. I didn't give that's not really the ending, but, the ending's pretty cool, so you gotta see that yourself. Altogether, this wasn't as bad as people like to say it was, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it 3 reviews out of 5 as well, and tell you, if you got 2 hours, It's worth sitting down and check this one out. It's not the best like people said, but it wasn't as bad as people like to think it was. So definitely worth checking out. So that's 3 reviews out of 5 for Men in Black International, 3 reviews out of 5 for 54, and definitely recommendations to go watch both if you have time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me do what I do. I couldn't do this. I'm well aware of that, and I never forget it. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Peace.